Hello, world. This is America's Supermom, and this is a special edition that I call the Corona Chronicles. During this time, we are suffering from a pandemic that is affecting everyone across the world. We are joined with the rules and regulations of being shelter in place, which means we are limited with the ability to go about our daily business, confined to our homes based on a coronavirus that has been sweeping the entire world. For some people, the effects could be mild. For others, it can be fatal. So we are coming together as a community, as a family during this time of difficulty to share what it is like in our part of the world, how we are affected, and the things that we have in common, what kind of problems that are taking place in our industries and in our relationships and finances, and coming together so that we can plan for a better tomorrow. As this epidemic or pandemic crosses the world, we are waiting for relief. We're waiting for the virus to die off and for us to go back to some state of normalcy, whatever that may be, after things kind of settle down. So what is that going to look like once the dust settles? How are things going to be different? So as we go through this process, we're coming together as a world to create ideas, strategies, connect in ways that we have never connected before. So that is the purpose of the special podcast that I call the Corona Chronicles, so that we can get some insight and have empathy and compassion on one another, create new innovative ideas that can not only improve our life, but our fellow brothers and sisters across the world. Thank you so much for joining us. Hello, hello.
Hi, Lachelle. How are you?
I am well. So glad we were able to connect.
Excellent, excellent. Yes.
Awesome. So
how's your day doing? Okay.
Yeah, everybody's doing well. Can't complain. We are just
Cracking
heeding
on.
the message of staying home. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
Mhm. Mhm.
So,
So with our little crew we have over here. Say that again.
Thank you for having me on. It's appreciated.
Oh, I'm glad that I could connect with you. You are such a woman on the move. So I am really honored to have you here, and I value your time, and I'm really excited. So
Oh, no problem.
let's
Be here.
so let's start with telling everybody who you are, a little background to where you are today.
Okay, so I'm from South Wales, in the UK, and I'm 53 years of age. I have 2 children and 2 stepchildren, and I have 2 grandchildren or step grandchildren. And basically, I was an only child, and then I grew up in the pub trade. My dad was a policeman to start with, and then he decided to go self-employed and go and set up his own business, and he bought pubs. So I used to run British pubs with my dad, and fell in love with people and being surrounded by people all the time. So then when I left school, I didn't want to I didn't go to university because I didn't like school, to be honest. I just wanted to get to the big bad world and go out there and earn a living. And my first job was working for a finance house as an admin clerk, and I absolutely hated it. And then I got the art of sales and went into sales, selling adverts in the newspapers. And then I went on to sell roadside billboards. I used to work for magazines. And my last job before I set up Intrabiz was working for a business magazine, and my boss sent me out networking. And I didn't know what it was. And I said, networking, what's all that about then? And he said, well,
Mm-hmm.
you go to these business events, you swap your business cards and you do business. But nobody told me how to network. In the first 3 months that I did go networking, I didn't get any business, surprise, surprise, because I was all about trying to sell to people and couldn't realize that networking was about building relationships and getting to know people and getting them to like you and know me. And obviously the first 3 months, no business. But then I realized, having spoken to a few people, I was about to give up on it. And I said to a few people, am I doing something wrong? And they said, yes, you're trying to sell to people. And it's obviously not about that. So I changed my tack and basically just got to know people and started helping people and was just asking lots of questions about them. And then I started helping them and connecting them to other people, and went on to sell £95,000 worth of revenue in advertising in 9 months through networking, and realized how powerful it was. And
Wow.
yeah, but then what I'd noticed, there was no one out there that would strategically place you with your target audience at the events. So I thought, well, what if I could business marry people together? You know, like obviously with a wedding photographer and a wedding florist. You know, so when people come together, they've sat with people who they needed to be sat in front of. So I found that out before they came to the event, and then started to do that. So that was my USP, really, was that we will strategically place you with your target audience. So set up my own business, and then 5 months in, I had a problem with my throat, and I'd gone into business with one of my clients, and the business wasn't going so fast because of my throat, because I wasn't being able. I had a stricture in my esophagus, it turned out, and basically I couldn't swallow food or drink fluids properly. It would all come back up again. Or, you know, it's what it was. We didn't know for a couple of years what it was, but it was the peristalsis muscle. You know, when you swallow food and you feel that glide going down into your stomach when you swallow. When I swallow, my peristalsis muscle would not always work. So it would just stick in my throat and be sick, just to bring it back up again, because it just would not go down because the muscle didn't work properly. So it caused me a lot of grief, and I lost a lot of weight and I was losing in energy, and I nearly gave up on the business. And then basically what happened, to cut a long story short, my business partner didn't want to be in the business with me anymore. And he gave me the business because I'd created him enough income to cover his costs after 4 months or 5 months. And I took it over. And then 18 months later, I went to a networking event and I met my husband, Paul. And the rest is history. And then he was in retail, and basically he was working for a suit company. You know, all business owners used to buy suits off him, a man's suit shop. And I told him to come in the business, and because I wasn't earning a great deal of money at the time, and I, you know, he said, "Oh, this is to give it up and go and get yourself a real job." And we laugh about it now, actually, because I had a big vision and I had a goal and I had a focus that I said, "No, I'm not giving up on this business. I love it, and I've got a bigger thing to achieve, which was to take it global." And then 18 months later, I took him to an event in London to hear 3 speakers on stage, and Sharon Lecter being one of them. And 3 of the speakers all stood up on stage and said one thing: it's who you network with. But Sharon went on to say it's how you leverage those connections. So Paul had his light bulb moment at that event, and he said, "Oh my God, now I know what you're trying to achieve." He said, "Imagine all the people that I've dressed in business, the celebrities and the football players and, you know, and the stars. He said, imagine if we could get more people into the network through the people that I know." And the rest is history, you know. So here we are, you know, like in the business. Yeah,
That
8
is
years
so
ago.
awesome.
And obviously, you know, last year we launched our first 2 franchises. So we had Swansea and West Wales, which is the next region over from us, which is good. We've got a local franchisee. But I've also got an international franchisee, Claire and Richard Rees, over in Sweden. So they've bought the franchise for Sweden, and we officially launched them in January, but they bought it last year. But obviously it took them a little while because they had to do training, and, you know, we had to develop them. And yeah, they launched at the end of January. So that was really exciting.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That is
So,
so.
you know,
One of the things that really inspires me with your story is how you really had held steadfast to your vision.
Got to do to get to where you want to
Mhm.
go. And if you write them down and you've got the goals in front of
Yeah,
you, put them up on a fridge magnet on your fridge and look at them every day.
I
Right,
love that.
what have I done today? Have I done something to get, as part of the journey of where I want to go?
Mm, that's awesome. Now, so I'm assuming during this process, with the goal and vision that you had, like
Yeah.
even you mentioned how your husband, he just didn't really kind of see that vision until he had that aha moment. So, what was it that, kept you steadfast? Or there may be somebody who's listening that they're at that space where they feel like nobody understands their vision. How would you recommend them to move
Well, I
forward,
think you've always got to have
to
a positive
continue with
mindset
that
anyway. In
mindset
my household,
until,
the
whoever
glass is
needs
never
to
half
join
empty, it's
them?
always half full. So you always have to look at the positives. If there's something that you want in your life and you've got a big vision and someone else doesn't believe it, surround yourself with people
Mhm.
that want to be on your journey. And if you're with a partner or with your husband or your wife and they don't believe in what you're doing, just start to put things in place yourself. Okay, and prove them wrong, and then once they can start to see that you're working towards that goal and you're actually progressing and
Mhm.
you're building that momentum, they will then start to see, well, actually, yeah, she's doing great things, or he's doing things, so but you've got to keep
Mhm.
going, never give up, always have that
Mhm.
moment where you think, I'm not going to give up, because we can all get bad days, we can all get good days,
Mhm.
but there's always more good days than bad. So always think of, the good things, the positivities, and even put a
Mhm.
picture up. If, say, for instance, by the end of the
Mhm.
year, you want to own another property or you just want to own your first property, put up a picture on the fridge and you look at that every day, and that seeing something every day that will motivate you, you know? And it's
Mhm.
just never giving up on what you think that you can do, and surrounding yourself with the best people. But surround yourself with good
Mhm.
people and nice people.
Mhm.
You'll always hear me say, surround yourself with good people that will lift you up, not pull you down, because there's so many naysayers out there, you know? Surround yourself with negativity and naysayers, you too will be negative and you won't progress. But if you surround yourself
Mhm.
with positive
Mhm.
people and nice people that will lift you
Mhm.
up and that will encourage you, you are more
Mhm.
likely to go forward than surrounding yourself with people that are just doom and gloom and the naysayers.
Mhm. So true. Now, so how did you gravitate towards those people? So, let's say right now people are at home, they're reflecting. They may recognize that the people that they are surrounding them with are not the right ones to kind of help them elevate to the next level of where they're moving
Well,
towards.
if for instance
So, what
they're
would you
looking,
recommend them to
say that
start
they're
doing in
looking
order
for,
to change that
something that they're
environment
in
for
their own
themselves?
industry that they want to do. Okay, so like say for instance they want to set up an events company. Look at the events companies and the people who own the events, and I'm just using events because
Mhm.
that's what I do. Look to somebody that's making great shakes out
Mhm.
there, that's making positive difference, that's being successful out there, and think,
Right.
I'd like to aspire to be like that, and start following them. Start seeing what their language is, because they will also follow other people, and obviously they'll have followers that will
Mhm.
be attracted to them.
Mhm.
So it's getting into those crowds of people where you want to be, go into those groups and start networking with them and just help other people. Because when you start
Mhm.
helping other people and they help you back, that's getting you into the
Mhm.
right positive mindset of being surrounded by people. If
Mhm.
you help people and they help you back, my husband always says there's two types of people in life. There's givers and
Mhm.
takers. The giver, the takers, all they'll want to do is take and drain you. They want to suck your blood. They want to take on you. But those
Mhm.
giving people, the givers, those are the people you want to surround yourself with. Is those
Mhm.
that will give you
Mhm.
time, that will give you opinions, that will give you support, that will give you advice. Those are the types of people you need to be
Mhm.
around, because they're the ones that will lift you up and keep you on part of your journey.
I love that. Yeah. So let's. The big thing here is that you were able to go to Necker Island with Sir Richard
Okay, well, it
Branson.
actually,
So
I can, you know, when
explain
you
to us
meet
a
people
little
in
bit
your
about
life and you
how that
think, you know,
happened
where's this
and
going
what
to
that
take you?
experience was like.
Um, and, you know, how did I get to where I got? I can tell you exactly how we got to Necker Island. And it's
Mm-hmm.
basically when we took Sharon Lecter on board, when
Mm-hmm.
remember I said about taking Paul up to London and he saw Sharon Lecter speak on stage. By saying yes to Sharon as her mentee, we wanted her to
Yeah.
be our mentor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we invested in ourselves. It cost a lot of money to have somebody like Sharon to be our mentor. We didn't have a good money, but we
Mm-hmm.
made it work. I
Mm-hmm.
used my credit cards to have a mentor, and I'm quite open to that because when you
Mm-hmm.
want to develop yourself, there's always a price to pay for that. Because, as I said, surrounding yourself with the best people,
Mm.
surrounding yourself with people that have walk the walk and they've talked the talk, and Sharon has actually done that. So when we heard her on stage, I sat in the audience and I said, oh my God, I'd love to work with that lady in some way, and I don't know
Mm-hmm.
how, but I wanted to. And I said, one day I'm going to share the stage with her. She's so inspiring. I have a huge respect for her. And we made that happen because although we met her in 2012, in 2015
Mm-hmm.
we connected with her, and we connected with her after the event as well. We met her at the event, but we also connected on
Mm-hmm.
LinkedIn. And in 2015, she sent out an email or a message on LinkedIn to say that she was looking for
Mm.
mentees. She was setting up a mentoring group. And when I got that message, I said to Paul, oh my God, it'd be amazing if we could have Sharon as our mentor. And when we found out the price, we were like, oh my
Mm-hmm.
God, we can't afford it. But we made it afford it. We made it work because we wanted her to be our
Mm-hmm.
mentor. And we made that decision in 2015. And then a couple of years
Mm-hmm.
ago, I think it was the
Mm-hmm.
following year. It was either 2015 or 2016. I have a feeling it was 2016. Sharon got invited to speak over in Dublin at a conference, and she said, "Would you?" And she invited all the other mentees to go as
Mm-hmm.
well. Network with people, learn from
Mm-hmm.
the other speakers at the audience, and be, a VIP guest with her.
Mm-hmm.
So she wanted to obviously share that experience with us. So we went along to that, and we connected with the
Mm-hmm.
conference organizers. So when we connected with them, we stayed in touch with them. And back last year, when we knew that we were going to be doing our franchise, they invited
Mm-hmm.
us to go and speak over in Dublin. So a year ago, last January, or it might have been February actually, because time flies, and I think it was the February,
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
stood up on stage and spoke to people, and I was just telling people the power of networking. But one of the things I said was, and
Mm-hmm.
I'd said this 3 years previous at one of my networking events, Richard Richard Branson, and obviously loads of people put their hands up. And I said, one day, I don't know when, I don't know how, but I'm going to meet Richard Branson,
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to do an event and take clients to Necker Island. And at the end of my talk, I finished speaking. Then somebody else came on and spoke. And in the break,
Mm.
a gentleman came over to me. His name is Brian Chittick. And he said to me, if you want an introduction, he said, I've got a friend of mine who recently went to Necker Island. Would you like an introduction? And I said, I'd love to.
Mm-hmm.
So we had an introduction to Hannah Kathleen Hawkshaw, who'd been to Necker Island, just thinking that I was going to pick her brains just to see what it was like, what Richard
Awesome.
was like, what the experience was like, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm.
We connected on sorry, not on LinkedIn, on Facebook Messenger, and we both really just
Mm-hmm.
gelled. And Hannah said, oh, I'd love to work with you in some way. And I said, likewise, I'd love to work with you. She's only
Mm-hmm.
21 years of age. She's a beautiful girl, very super talented.
Mm-hmm.
And she's an amazing girl. And she came over to speak last year. So we brought her over to speak. She
Wow.
then said to us,
Mm-hmm.
would you like an introduction to Richard Branson's tennis coach? Because I met him on Necker. We got introduced to James Kluski. James introduced us to the guys at Necker Island. And Necker Island crew, where we had the event, we built up a
Mm-hmm.
relationship with them over the phone, or Paul did, my husband. And then they invited us to be their referral partners, and we took clients to Necker Island, and that's how it all happened. Down to, they knew
Mm-hmm.
who we'd been working with, because we obviously previous years we'd had Lord Sugar, we had Grant
Wow.
Cardone, the American
Wow.
billionaire over in Florida. He came and spoke for us. We've had Baroness Michelle Mone speaking for us. And we've had
Mhm.
all, and DeVay from Dragon's Den in the UK. So we had
Mhm.
all these high profile speakers that have worked with us. So we had that credibility.
Mhm.
We'd been around for 10 years and we built up a good network of good people and good speakers and good people who we
Mhm.
connected with. So we've shown up for the last 11 years in our business. So we've built the credibility, we've built the
That is
trust,
so awesome.
and obviously the people that we've worked with then gave us that stamp of approval with
Mhm.
the Necker Island crew, and we're proud to say that we're
Mhm.
working alongside them again this year and going forward. So
That is so awesome. Now, so let's go back really briefly to that investment with Sharon. And, somebody may be listening and, you know, the whole idea of feeling like, oh, yeah, I want to do my business, but, the price tag just seems so high. So, kind of explain to somebody the difference between just paying for something and what you
well,
actually
I
saw
think
the
when you
value with
look
this
for a
being an
mentor, I
investment.
suggest
So
everybody
they're on
has a
the fence
mentor, and
and
I've
they're trying to
started mentoring
decide
people as well now. And the
how they're going to
reason
move forward.
that we took Sharon on board, one, I hugely respected her. Two, she resonated with us. Three, I liked her. And I think those two things that you've got to have. Four, she'd walk the walk and she'd talk the talk. She'd built the brand, a $50
Mhm.
million business that she turned Rich Dad Poor
Mhm.
Dad into. So she had all the credentials of what I wanted as a mentor. So for us, it was a no-brainer, because
Mhm.
what I wanted to do was not only invest in myself and Paul in himself,
Mhm.
it was invest in
Mhm.
our brand, but also for other people because I wanted to mentor people eventually because, as I said, I love people. Um,
Mhm.
and I wanted to
Mhm.
invest with the best mentor that I could possibly have, that I could get the best advice from and the best support so that
Mhm.
I could learn those skills to then transfer those skills to my tribe of people, that
Mhm.
I could give lots of value to my to my members. But then when I decided to mentor people myself, then I would have
Mhm.
Sharon as my mentor to say that that I'd learned from the best, so that I could then give and try and give back and transfer some of the best advice to mentees,
Right.
and that's why now I've started mentoring people, and I
Mhm.
absolutely love it. And I love nothing more than seeing my mentees shine and flourish, and I'm doing that with my franchisees now. Is I can see them flourishing, I can see them growing the brand of Intrabiz through our guidance and our help and support. I've never
Mhm.
professed to say that I know everything because I don't, and none of us know everything. But I do think it is so important that everybody has a mentor that they can go to for help and support, whether it be free or
Mhm.
whether it's paid for. But you do have a mentor because I think it's great for support and just that stamp of approval, or if you're having a bad day, you know that you've got somebody to
Mhm.
turn to. And that's what I love, And as I say, I never profess that I know everything because I always say to my mentees, I will never know the answer to everything, but I
I
know
love that.
someone that can help me to get you the answer. Do you see what I mean? Because I've got a great network of people around me. Mm,
Mm. Yeah. I love that. So I just love that whole mindset because, there are a lot of
yeah,
people that want to move up, want to level up, and I love how you are strategically creating that environment for yourself. And I think that might be a piece that a lot of entrepreneurs kind of forget about is they think, oh, they understand their vision and what they're working towards,
yeah,
but
of
they don't
course.
understand the daily work that it takes to kind of create that environment so that they can have the support to be successful.
I think for me, it's like if there's something that you
Awesome.
want in your
So,
life
any last
and you're
words that you
yourself,
would like to share
never
with
look back on your
everybody
life and
today?
regret not doing something. Always think to yourself, if there's something where I want to go,
Mhm.
it's a journey. So start with the end in mind of where it is you want to go, and then implement steps and actions to make things happen that you know that that's going to get you where you
Mhm.
want to go. But never ever look back on your life and regret it. And always surround yourself with the boss, the most lovely people and positive people, not nasty people. Because you surround yourself with good people that will lift you up, you will go far and get yourself a mentor. And network everywhere.
Yes.
there's I mean, at the moment, I know with the coronavirus, we can't do that,
I
but
love that.
online, you can
Yes.
start here today. Start building your connections online. Help other people. Don't ever look upon yourself as
Mhm.
don't be that taker. Be the giving person, because I love nothing more than giving back to people, and I love giving gifts at Christmas. When I give gifts at Christmas, I love to give rather than
Mhm.
to receive, because I love seeing people's faces when I give them a gift. Or when you give somebody something. It's just a nice feeling that you get inside. Is that nice, warm, fuzzy feeling in your stomach that you've given to someone, and you've
That's
and
awesome.
Sharon always said, and we interviewed her the other day, and one thing she said every day, her father used to say to her, "Have you added value to somebody's life today?" And I love that, because I do a lot of talks in schools, and I always say to the teachers at the end of my talks, if I've only inspired one person
Mm,
today,
yeah.
one of your pupils, I've done a good job. But if I inspire more than one, happy
Mhm.
days. But if I've inspired one, that's still really, really good.
Mhm. Yeah.
Absolutely. On info@intrabiz.co.uk. And I'm also
Mhm.
on Instagram as my name as well.
Mhm.
And if anybody's interested, I do have a book called Master Networking, and I have a networking tool called the
Mhm.
Follow Up Fortune in the Follow Up Book. And that is also on Amazon. Now, I don't know what's happening with Amazon at the minute. I think they might only be
Yeah.
supplying medical supplies with everybody in lockdown. So
Mm.
uh, you can actually go onto my website, which is intrabiz.co.uk, and my books are on there. So you could buy that on the shopping
Mhm.
cart, and I could send them in the post. So there are numerous ways of getting hold of me.
Awesome. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, Tracy. I really appreciate your
Thank you very
time,
much, Lachelle, for
your
inviting me
wise
on. It's been
words
a
of
pleasure and an honor.
wisdom, and looking forward to great things
You
from you
too.
from
Take
the rest
care.
of the year. It's just awesome.
Bye. 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 Bye.
What a great interview. I am really inspired by her journey of knowing what she wanted and going after it, staying the course regardless of what it looked like. And then just the timeline, so important about what our intentions are. If you have an intention and you line it up with action, eventually it will come to pass. So that whole timeline for Necker Island and visit with Sir Richard Branson is just quite a story. I love it. So I hope that you all were able to get value out of this. This was one of my first recordings, so there was a lot of issues with technology, a lot of people getting online during this time, as well as we had a storm. A little background with this interview, so there were some parts that I had to cut out because I couldn't salvage, but um, and there were parts where some of this seems like we were talking over each other. That's just something with the actual software. So I tried as best I could to get that out. But the content was so good. It was just um, quite an example of the perseverance, the focus, and things that are required for you to dream big and also achieve big things based on implementing an action plan for that. So I thought this was a very valuable lesson, something that I wanted to make sure that I still posted and shared with other people. I encourage you, if you had any questions or something wasn't quite clear, to reach out to Tracy. Just as she says, she loves to network, loves to meet people. She is a helper and a connector. So I encourage you to reach out to her if you have any questions, or you just want to reach out and see if you might be able to create an organic relationship when it comes to networking, connecting with her to see if there's something you could do for her to add value. So, a great segue for you to move forward and begin to build an online presence and networking. I want to thank you guys for listening. If you are interested in being a guest, please feel free to email me at info@lachelleatkins.com, or you can message me on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram, Pinterest, and I also have a YouTube channel. So I want to thank you guys very much for listening. And just like Tracey said, do what you can to help people. Sharing this whole podcast takes one click of a button. So if there's something that you heard that resonates with you, share it with someone else so they can be blessed just like you were. Have a wonderful day and thanks for listening.